Welcome to the Real Estate Pros Show, where we interview real estate investing professionals from coast to coast, as well as the service providers that serve the real estate investing industry. Our goal is simple: share what's working now to help you improve and scale your business to the next level and meet the pros that can help you get there. Real Estate Pros is powered by Investor Fuel, America's leader in helping real estate investors and professionals build the business you need to live the life you've always dreamed of. Let's start today's show. Property insurance for real estate investors doesn't have to be difficult, but it does need to be there to protect you when you need it. MyInvestorInsurance.com not only provides insurance at 15 to 30% cheaper than traditional agencies, it's built specifically for real estate investors like you. You can set up an account in about 2 minutes, get quotes on properties, turn on and turn off insurance for your fix and flip or rental properties in around 2 minutes without having to talk to anyone directly, all through our portal. There's no better way or faster way to make sure you've got the coverage you need to protect you, and no more lengthy policies either. Once you're set up, you're billed monthly and prorated by the day for however long your policy is active. It's powered by MSI, the third largest independent MGA, with 1.5 million customers and more than $1 billion in cumulative premiums written. Get set up today in about 2 minutes at myinvestorinsurance.com/fuel.
Hey folks, welcome back to the show. I'm your host, Dylan Silver, and today on the show I have Mysti Marcantonio. Mysti is an accountant by background and now getting into the real estate space, looking at multifamily and a number of strategies. Mysti, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Dylan. I appreciate this.
Absolutely. At the top of the show, I typically ask folks how they got into or interested in the real estate space, but your background is a little bit different. Before we hopped on here, you mentioned you were working as an accountant in a couple different spaces. So walk us through your journey up to where you are today, whereas looking towards the real estate space as an investment vehicle. But how did you get into the accounting space?
Sure. So that's actually a great question. I was in the restaurant and retail world for the longest time, and then I transitioned to be a stay-at-home mom for a decade of time. And while I did that, I went to school for accounting, and the reason I did that was because I was trying to assess, and this was pre-COVID, I was trying to assess what can I do for a job every day where I can have more time, freedom, and flexibility, because I also homeschool my children. It's very heavy as, just active mom, right? So I went through a lot of, diagnosing the different careers out there that would give me the flexibility. And accounting was something I was like looking at: law, paralegal. I love law. And I love accounting. It's kind of it's very similar stuff. The boring stuff behind the scenes, the research aspect. And so I was like, okay, can I build my business and not work for somebody else, and there where I can just kind of do it behind the scenes, the hours that I want, and just kind of be available for clients, but it's something that they don't need like heavy, clocking in, clocking out, like 9 to 5, hours all the time. And so I really settled on starting an accounting firm that way. And so after I finished accounting school, I launched, and I just really, starting your own business, as any entrepreneur knows, it's a journey, and you just kind of have to take what you can get at the time, right? Like as you're growing, you're putting stuff out there. You're just talking to everybody, say, hey, I've got this going on. That's the way it always starts. So, I did like construction, nonprofits, and, real estate, and then consulting, just so many industries. And then I realized over a couple of years, I'm like, I really hate the construction industry. So like, I do not want to do this anymore. Um, so a couple of things that I loved, a couple of things that I just didn't want to do. But one of the things that was very common was that business owners and entrepreneurs, which I will say are a little bit different, they also want to find other avenues for investments. Usually they're like, oh, what else can I do?
Stop living on an island and join the #1 mastermind in America for professional real estate investors. Investor Fuel is a community of hundreds of the nation's top investors working together to build stronger businesses and better lives. In addition to the amazing community of real estate investors acting as a board of advisors for one another, Investor Fuel members have access to 100% funding on purchase and repairs for our members only, a health insurance program, and benefits and discounts that more than pays for the membership of most of our members, meaning it's actually costing you money to not be a member of Investor Fuel. If you're looking to scale your business and build a business that allows you to live the life of your dreams, please visit investorfuel.com today and book a call with our team.
And then a lot of them, it was like 80 or 90% of my clients, no matter what industry they were in, from the business owner or entrepreneur standpoint, they all had like a rental or some kind of property that they're like looking at, commercial building or something like that. And so essentially, I have one client, one entrepreneur, one business owner who has multiple businesses now. And that's kind of where it developed for my accounting firm, where I just was in like, I call them, I joke. And when I say like, we're serial entrepreneurs, where like, you just can't get
Yep.
enough
Yep.
collecting, right? And so essentially they're investors, and so investors are always looking for, another way to put money, make their money work for them. And so it's only been recent in the past 2 years that I really focused in on real estate investors. And my favorite besides those are the restaurants, just because as a kid, I was a server, I was a cocktail waitress, I was a bartender. Then I managed some more. And then I'm just like, okay, so I know that industry so well, from the inner workings, from the tiniest thing to the highest level, that I was like, okay, I really want my business to be restaurants and real estate. And it's funny because those are the two most complicated accounting, bookkeeping like things,
Sure.
industries. But yeah, so that's kind of where it really developed. So right now, the real estate market has been, so obviously we know it's so crazy. I just never thought I would get into it, because it's a historical thing, just a personal journey that I had a lot of hiccups, and I won't get into that, but I was just like, I'm never going to be able to do that, right? Because
Yep.
my credit worthiness or my capital, right? I'm like, I don't even want to talk about it. So something happened as I was going through, like I always do more courses, forever learning. I'm a forever learner. I'm like, I want to keep yeah. In the tax world, you literally have to. But so yeah, so for accounting and all that stuff, I'm just keeping more courses and more education for myself, CPE. Now something came across my desk, and it was like a workshop for real estate investment. I'm like, okay, let me just go. I got nothing to lose. And it turned out it was um, the multifamily sector. And my mind was blown, and it was so exciting to me that I just, excuse me, I just had to know more. And that was kind of where that was.
When I
Excuse me.
think about my journey in the real estate space, it was from a place of not knowing anybody to then networking and networking and networking to then going to a couple RIA meetings to then attending a conference that I paid a bunch of money for to then thinking, okay, maybe I can do this, to then getting my first deal, to then getting my first 10 deals, and then realizing, okay, I think I can do this, but I really want to carve out a niche for myself, working with investors and working with people who uh, are potentially facing difficult situations, maybe foreclosure or some type of financial distress or distress in the home, because that's what
Mm,
a lot of wholesalers deal with. And so when I was on the outside looking in, it seemed totally impossible. It seemed impossible because not only did I not know anybody, my perception was that, and I think a lot of new investors who are in my same shoes, my perception was that you needed to have tons of money, all the right connections, and you needed to basically have it in your blood in order to do this. So that's all the people that I knew who actually had property in their name. That's
mm,
what they fell into. But then as I started to go down this process, I realized, you know what? There may be more gurus than we can count out here, but
mm,
there's also, if you look and you attend these different events and you network and you continue networking. I was at an event for being a realtor in DFW earlier today. you eventually run into people who are doing what you want to be doing, and they're more than willing to share the secrets. And
Mm-hmm.
so, to your point, just always having that drive and that desire to where can I get the next, you know, gold nugget.
If you're looking for consistent, high-quality leads, look no further than Investor Machine. Investor Machine isn't just another agency, it's the most sophisticated, data-driven lead generation company on the planet for real estate investors, and serves the role of being not just a lead generator for your business, but a marketing partner that is helping you achieve your goals along the way. Go to investormachine.com to learn more and schedule a call with our team today.
Hmm. Yes, for sure. I love that. I love that you just put yourself in the room with the people who are doing it, and that's what I'm trying to do. I know there is absolutely a billion gurus out there, and it's hard now. Again, all the algorithms for all the socials. Once they get you, like now you see nothing but that, right? Which is so funny.
That's
So like,
it.
I didn't even know there was that many gurus until now.
I know.
Um, yeah, I am super excited. So what happened was we did wind up spending a lot of money on a mastermind, a group, a community. And again, so then you realize your doors open, you realize what's out there, and then you're like, okay, so we actually jumped ships and we changed communities because then I realized that this was a thing. So then I'm like, hold on. And here we go with my, I want to research, I want to find out, I want to dig, I want to learn. And I realized there were so many. So
Yeah.
then we started, my husband and I are partnering on this. And so I said, we need to vet this better. I didn't know what I didn't know. And now that I know a little more, I want to really go through the steps and I want to vet this better. And we vetted several, I think a total of like five initially. And we just fell in love with our current community. So
Nice.
it's still, there's, but it's surrounding yourself with the people who are like-minded, who they've done it before and they over and over, they're coaching you, they're telling you, they're inspiring you. Then you're also surrounded with the same people that are just like you with that constant drive going, we are going to do this. And so, I mean, in the multifamily sector where it's all about like underwriting, 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 right? So, and that's something that's that's vastly different than the single family sector. I mean, so one of the things that really excites me too is this. I feel like more than anything else, and maybe I'm wrong, this is my perspective from what I have learned over the years, that this multifamily investment, this sector is like a win-win-win for everyone involved. Like I can't see. I mean, there's risk. If you want to be an investor, and we talk about this all the time, right? Just in general. If you want to be an investor and you want to take no risk, you just don't need to be an investor. There's just no such thing. But
Right.
when you look at that, risk on multifamily, you're like, like it seems safer than, and again, I'm just on the outskirts here, just learning it, but it seems a
Yep.
whole lot safer than the single family side to me. What are your thoughts on that one?
I'd love to hear your thoughts. My thoughts are there's definitely the ability for you to have more tenants. That could leave more vacancies. That could also mean more cash flow. That could also mean it's a higher price point. It also means that it's harder to find buyers. So if you do need to sell, because let's say your tenants leave or you're not positively cash flowing because a handful of tenants leave, then it's going to take longer, depending on where you are, but certainly in most places it will take longer than selling a single family home because anyone can buy a single family home. Anyone who needs to live a place can move into a single family home, but multifamily has to go to an investor or someone who plans on using it as an investment. So,
Mm,
as a first time investor, and I'm not at this point myself, where I'm at right now is I'm getting my I would say my nest egg up, but also my relationships in a place where I can go
mhm.
and partner on these deals. So
Yes.
I'm someone who personally, maybe I might change this, but I'm someone who personally doesn't want to do this on my own. I would like to have someone who's right there with me, and so I have to get to that next point.
Yes.
So in many ways, I'm in much the same place which you are at, and I think that you mentioned your husband is doing this with you, having a spouse who's in the trenches with us is amazing, and so I think that you're blessed to have that
Absolutely.
type of dynamic. And then, I'm curious, Misty, what your perspective is, single versus multi.
Yeah, so I love it so much because I've just heard now, I've just sunk and dove into the stories, and I'm looking at, the properties, the offerings, I'm looking at the rent rolls, I'm doing this underwriting stuff, and I'm looking at what all these people have done, and I'm putting myself in rooms with these people, and I'm hearing and I'm going, okay, the multifamily, what I'm doing now, I love, like, all of my clients that are in the single family, like, if you and me, right, we're talking, I'm going, hey, Dylan, like, I'm calling you going, I think you should look at this, right? I got a property offering, like, let's partner, right? Because a lot of people that I know, they're already, LPs, they want that silent, that passive investment income. And I'm going, I know their struggles. I walk with them all the time on single family. Your personal walk as a real estate investor on a single family ownership, you're like, okay, I've got to flip, I got to, oh, this one tenant, right? If this one tenant doesn't pay, 2 or 3 months in a row, like what that does to your cash flow. What if something goes wrong? Now you got to struggle. Again, I hate the construction accounting just because there's so much headache with it, but also the real estate investor who's dealing with the contractors who, all those pricing and all of the headache and getting them to show up, like, I've walked those paths with them, and I just think that it's way, way, way better for a real estate investor if they have the capital to invest in a multifamily. And it's way higher. The price points are way higher, but that return is still everything that I've seen. And so far, I mean, when you're like your ROI is getting to be like that 20% versus what you have on a single family, I'm going, that just looks sweeter for a lot less effort, lot less energy. And
Yeah.
I think that I'm telling them all because as soon as I get a deal, like they're going to invest in my multifamily property.
If you're a new or newer real estate investor looking to launch or grow your real estate investing business, please check out Investor Fuel Club. It's a coaching community, but unlike anything you've ever seen before. And you can actually partner with members of our mastermind from coast to coast on deals right in your market. There's no better opportunity to build a consistent business than to literally partner with pros to help you avoid costly mistakes, avoid the need for capital to do deals, and help you eliminate your fears as you're starting your business. Learn more about Investor Fuel Club at investorfuel.com/club.
Let's dive into one of those deals that you've underwritten. Without getting, we can go as specific as you want to get, actually. But when you're underwriting a multifamily deal, what's your process? What areas are you looking in? And then is there a specific buy box that you have, characteristics that you're looking for?
Yeah, well, as I said, I'm still learning. Like this is my practice phase.
Got
So
it.
we have a really great coach who, we meet with him weekly and we go over underwriting. We literally just pull off of like Marcus and Millichap or something, just kind of fictitious, like we would never buy them. We know that because they're already, they're on market and the off market deals are what we're looking for, right? You know
Right.
this. So we're just given that basic like 10-minute fast underwriting, and so I can't even really speak to all of that. I don't want to steer anybody wrong right now, just to say I'm not a pro at that, right? And
Sure.
my philosophy is, listen, somebody really brilliant said it one time: an amateur does something till they get it right. A pro does it until they can't get it wrong. So
Yep.
I don't know that I'm ever going to say that I'm a pro at underwriting, but knowing that I have a team that I can say, hey, I underwrote this, like, and it looks good to me. Here, what do you think? You've been doing this a whole lot, so that's kind of what I do. So I would suggest to anybody getting into that, like, make sure you have somebody that can review your underwriting. So I'll just leave that there.
Misty,
Um,
when I hear you talk about this, I think uh, back to when you were, or and still are, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. You're active in the accounting space
oh
still.
yes. Oh yeah. I don't know if I'll ever, I love my accounting. I love doing it.
Right, right. So, you're active in the accounting space. You have a restaurant industry background before doing the accounting, and then you also do accounting for restaurants. Any thought to doing some type of business acquisition, purchasing a business? I know that that's not exactly a real estate deal, but there's a lot of overlap, tremendous overlap
There
between
is.
people who buy businesses and people who buy real estate.
Yeah. Yes, that's a great question, and I appreciate that. So I literally, one of my clients, I have a couple of two partners right now that they just launched a brewery and not too far from you in Guthrie, Oklahoma, actually.
Yeah.
And it was super exciting. And I never got to launch a business like that before. Usually I just come in after it's already established. But this one, because again, I've already had these clients with other things. And so we did this together. So I was the CFO, the role, and it was so exciting. So one of the investors bought the actual commercial building. The other investor is the boots on the ground. He's the COO. And then I was the overall, I'm very, the high level numbers person. And also because it was really funny, Dylan, we joke about this all the time. I really had to jump in because neither one of them had any restaurant experience.
Yep.
And I'm like, we can do this, guys. You got me. Like, we can do this because I know what I'm doing. And so that's kind of one of the funny things that I said. I said, I don't love because right now where we're at, like it's very difficult money wise. I've had to make a capital call. Like it wasn't fun because it can be rough.
Yep.
But it's been so exciting and great so far. And I said, guys, I want another one. I want it in Costa Rica. like so I'm joking, but I'm going, that's one of our plans. So we have two different plans. So I'm going, the next one we do together. We got to make this one work. And then I'm going, let's do it again. Because so far we've done really pretty good.
My feedback hearing that is you're a subject matter expert in accounting. I would go so far as to say you're a subject matter expert in restaurants, right? And the business side of that you understand, the accounting side of it understand, underlying and underwriting, a plaza and maybe rehabbing it to be a, restaurant. That may be challenging, but there's lots of you may not need to own the underlying land, the real estate, but it could nonetheless have a lot of tremendous overlap if you were to go make an offer, for instance. I don't know specifically, I probably should know this, but I think there's a lot of people who are potentially agents who actually sometimes broker these deals because it's a lot of similarities to it. Yeah, there may be attorneys involved, but there's a lot of similarities to it. And so,
Mhm.
you may come across a deal where someone is retiring or older and looking to sell their restaurant, and you have this opportunity to quote fix and flip the restaurant, and
Mhm.
then I think that's a super niche thing that you could do.
I love that I love that, Dylan. Thank you so much for that. That's a really great piece of advice. And I'm not even gonna lie, I am subscribed to all of the groups that are all restaurants on all the different platforms that I can be.
Yeah.
Because like if there's a restaurant for sale, like yes, I'm going to look at it. I want to see what's happening because
Have you been have you been making offers on them?
no, because like I said, I just now got to the point where I was like, okay, I think I'm ready to buy something myself.
Yeah.
And so, and we just got through tax season, so there was that. I'm like, the first quarter of any year is never a time that I'm looking to buy anything anyway.
Well, this is what I'm a realtor now, so uh, my primary objective right now is to work with sellers and investors. But when I was
Mhm,
specifically looking at off-market deals before I was a realtor, we wrote about 150 offers. Now, I couldn't submit them because I wasn't a licensed agent, but we
mhm.
wrote, hey, this is how much we want to offer on it. This is what we're underwriting the deal for. And it
Yeah.
was at like, I want to say it would be at, 60 to 70% of what the business would, excuse me, the real estate would sell for if it was listed on market, or if it was listed on market, we were just offering at 60 to 70% of that. And so
Okay.
we had offers get accepted that way. We had numerous offers get accepted that way. Some of them
Wow.
went through. We were able to assign those contracts. And so I tell this because you're that subject matter expert. I believe that same strategy could work with restaurants. If there are these people that,
Mhm.
sure, there might be a low offer, but at the same point in time, how many other offers are they getting? Where are the other offers coming in from? You make enough of these offers, maybe you can meet somewhere in the middle. And you know
Yeah.
everything about that. And then there may also be an opportunity there to buy the underlying real estate. I know nothing about this, so I
Yeah.
would I would be out of water. I couldn't do it. But there's probably not that many people who have your specific skill set. So you're in the groups. Like this is such a niche thing that I think, could be great for you.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that. I will tell you I did submit one offer myself for acquiring my business acquisition, and it was another bookkeeper who was selling her book of clients, and she felt the same way about real estate clients that I did about construction, and she
Yeah.
was like, I want somebody to take all my all my real estate, and so but it was not a good, I looked at it and I put an offer in. It wasn't a good fit, but it's fine. But that was the first thing that I actually ever said, "Oh, I actually want to acquire something now." Like I'm just now getting there.
It was honestly shocking doing this like 100 times, because it's a lot of effort.
Yeah, it
and
it is.
so and so you would think that a formula that's simple wouldn't pan out, but it did to shocking degree. Now I have noticed this, that there are kind of fads or peaks and valleys that people kind of ride out. There's a lot of people that are acutely aware of what short-term rentals are, Airbnb. There's a lot of people that are aware of what wholesaling is. But if you
Mhm.
go back 10 years ago, how many people were aware of it? There was probably more people aware of uh, Airbnb than there was people aware of wholesaling. And if you go back 15 years ago, you know, it might have been a toss up for both of them, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're able to find, kind of that niche, and the high level operators that I talk on here that are the most successful really have a dialed in niche. Like they do
Yes.
this. I've had people who tell me I buy distressed second position notes in X area. I'm like, wow, I
Mm.
barely know what
Yeah.
that means, but God bless you for it.
Yeah, it's very true. So I have been able to partner with, a couple of people in our community where I can tell you, you did ask about the buy box and I didn't say that. I was talking about the underwriting.
Yeah,
But our buy box is very specific and it is like a BC class property in an ABC area,
yeah,
55 to 50 doors, 5 to 50 units, that is a value add, right? And in our backyard. So we have a couple of very specific markets.
yeah.
And so, we're looking at the median income, 40K or more, it was just very, very specific stuff. And uh that's huge because it really helps weed out really quickly everything else you don't
Yeah.
want.
That's
And
exactly
that's
right.
important.
Hugely important. Having that buy box identified. I mean, for truthfully, I probably could have done a better job when that was my full-time effort of identifying exactly, even as a wholesaler, what type of properties did I want to target, what type of sellers did I want to go after. I was looking for anybody who's got any type of distress. They're just tired of it, whatever, or
Yeah.
can't afford it, foreclosure, probate. I was looking for anybody and everybody. But now I'm saying, you know what? I really could have dove in and been like, anyone and everybody. I'm in the DFW Metroplex in Denton, Texas. I could have been like anyone in DFW who has a probate home under $400,000, and there's less than three heirs, like something like this. And
Hmm.
I'm just falling here, but like
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah.
level of niche that I'm looking at right now, because when I'm getting on these calls with people, I want to know that I'm bringing them something that is way different than anything else. Because
Hmm.
often, I mean, let's be real, in many cases, specifically if we're looking at it as an investment, we do have to make it, of course, worthwhile for us as the investor. So it's not like
Yeah.
I can go and make them an offer that is going to exceed what they can get on their market value.
Right.
But why should
All
they
about the
choose me?
underwriting.
Why should they choose me? Right. And so that's the
Yeah.
differentiating thing.
Awesome. That's a great point. That is so, yes. Yes.
Yeah. Misty, we are coming up on time here. Where can folks go to get a hold of you?
I have two different websites. I have one for the real estate side and I have one for the restaurant side. Uh, booksandbites.com if people need restaurant accounting help. And I've got accountonmisty.com, which is the real estate investing side.
Misty, thank you so much for coming on the show, for talking with us about your journey. Congrats on all your success so far, and let us know when you get that first deal under contract.
Oh, I will. Thank you so much for this, Dylan. This is really exciting. And I just want to add one last thing. This was huge for me because I hate being on camera. And one of my mentors mentioned that this is something we really have to do to grow, to get out of our comfort zone. You want
Yeah.
something different, you got to do something different. So I just want to extend my appreciation to Investor Fuel, Mike, you, yourself, your team, that helped me get here, because it can be scary for some people. So I appreciate you guys hosting.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks.
Thanks for joining us for today's Real Estate Pros Show. You can learn more about the amazing benefits of the Investor Fuel Mastermind community, including surrounding yourself with hundreds of other rock stars, 100% financing for your deals, and members-only discounts from vendors you're likely already using that, as a member of Investor Fuel, will save you more than the cost of your membership. Visit investorfuel.com to learn more. If you're interested in joining us as a guest of this show, please visit investorfuel.com/pros to apply. You can also check the show notes for access to free resources, how to get access to world-class lead generation, and much more. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss another episode. Have a great day. We'll see you on the next show.